Greetings to everyone. Peace and blessings to the family. Run, tell that in the house again. And yes, this time we're back in the lab. We're back in the lab. Last week, had to go to Tybee Island and go there and help with regards to the unveiling, give some of the history and the culture there in Tybee for the unveiling of the markers tied to the civil rights movement. But we gave a little bit more than that, as some of y'all probably saw also. But we were glad to be out there at Tybee, but we're glad to be right back here in the lab. And on last week, which was May 19th, which again, because we were at Tybee, I couldn't get fully into it, was the birthday of one of my heroes, the Honorable El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz of Malcolm X. That was his birthday on last week. But then also it was another holiday, and it's an old holiday that some people know about, but some people don't, and they kind of switched it up. It's also African Liberation Day was last week too, African Liberation Day. And so we are here, part two, with regards to our segments tied to Black business, Black economics, Black empowerment. And we're going to have Brother LC joining in later on with us. Also, Sister Capricia will try to join in because, you know, they got a lot of business happening. So there'll be, and Sabrina Newby, she's on the call handling her political structures. So again, we have them joining in. But then we got a special guest that's coming in too that we're proud to have with us. And this sister's making things happen, not just here, but throughout the Southeastern region, but then also around the entire country. We got Sister Myra Foster. And so, Sister Foster, glad to have you on Run Tell That. And I'm not going to trouble you with this. I'm not going to bother you about this. I'm not going to just mess with you about this. But this is for the other people who are checking out Run Tell That, those who are listening, those who are producing, that I will never get into the conversation anymore about what is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia, because I know that that school has somebody in their Hall of Fame called Jamal Touré. Bam! I ain't got to say no more to nobody out there. So again, we just put it out there to our producers, Crystal and Julius. That's why I was silent. I ain't got to say nothing. But Sister Myra, who are you?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. And I'm Myra, known to a lot of people as simply Truth. A lot of my friends just simply call me Truth, known for just telling it straight like it is at all times, even about myself. And that's it. You know, that's it. What you want to know in particular?
we gonna flow with. We're gonna get into it. I want to know what's your business, because again, you're doing some things. What are your businesses? What are your interests? What is, and I should say, what is your mission? What are you about?
You know what? That's funny. It's funny that you asked that, because the first thing that you said when you said something about me was you said my business. And I do own, a couple of businesses. I am a business owner. But that's not how I really identify myself. I identify myself as simply a lifestyle designer, because I design my life the way that I want to live it. And throughout my experiences and the things that I've learned along the way and the people that have helped me along the way and taught me different things, etc., I'm able to turn around and now help other people to design their lifestyle. So some people know me for having a business, and some people know me as their business consultant, and some people know me as the sales lady at their favorite boutique. And you know what I mean? So it's just a variety of different things. But that's what I like to say, is that I help people to design the lifestyle that they want to live.
And that's powerful, because we have Sister Donna Shella Shives on with us back in February, and she has Ngome lifestyle. That Ngome, some people see Ngome, they see fashion, they see clothing, they see jewelry, but then also she put out there it's a lifestyle. And when we talk about that, we talk about philosophy of life. That again, when you have a philosophy of life, you have parameters as how you function. That I don't have to worry about people who have a philosophy of life. I don't have to worry about any of them, because I understand they know how they're supposed to function within those parameters. So I know that there's an honor that's right there. And so that we tell folks it's all about spirituality. And your spirituality doesn't have to be formalized religion, but again, it's your way of life. And so, yes, indeed. So that's why we want to get into some of that conversation with you about. But I want to throw something out there to you, too, that I saw, because you've been hovering in the Low Country area of Georgia And so you were here this morning. Why were you here this morning? We don't get into some other thing. Why were you here this morning?
Actually, I was I was there over the week, in the early part of the week, because I have some things going on in Savannah. Um, I have Black owned SAV that's going on in Savannah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, I think. But as far as this morning was concerned, I was downtown. Well, River Street. I was on River Street. I was called it downtown mistakenly, but I was on River Street because there was a boat, a ship coming through that was like the largest ship that ever came through, the port there. And so I thought that that was pretty big. And so I went down there, but it actually turned out to be something bigger than that for me, really. It was just an opportunity again to design my lifestyle. It was an opportunity to really be grateful for being down there. A quick story. You already know when you go down on River Street, if you park up at Bay, you have to go down the cobblestone, walk there. And so on the way down, I found a reason to be thankful, because that's what I teach people is I show them really you design your lifestyle by simply being grateful for everything that you have. But I was going down the cobblestone and I was thankful that I was able to walk down the cobblestone. You know what I mean? I wasn't in a wheelchair. I wasn't on crutches or anything like that, not to offend anybody who is. But then on the way back up, it was more spiritual, because like you said earlier, you said it's a lifestyle, like the whole thing is a lifestyle. And on the way back up, I could imagine, the people that came here before us, our ancestors, how they were on those cobblestones. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a whole different thing. Like I was thankful for them and that they made it. You know what I mean? I felt prouder of who I was because of what they had experienced, all in something that I didn't even plan to do. So that's what I was doing there. I was there because it was an opportunity for me to be grateful, wrapped up in seeing the boat come through today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, sister. Yes, indeed. And what you threw out there again, that's something that's relevant and that is important to all of us. And just like for those of you who are checking us out, we say share, 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 run, tell that, share, run, tell that. Because just like when you talk about that, when you're in that area, and it's something I throw out to folks, that when you're in Savannah, you're on River Street to Oglethorpe Avenue from MLK to East Broad. When you're standing in that area, you're standing on African handiwork. You're standing on African handiwork because you have Africans brought out of Charleston, South Carolina, brought out of Beaufort, South Carolina, who are there to help lay out the streets and the squares in that part of Savannah, because that's the beginning of Georgia. In fact, that's the beginning of Georgia right there. So I tell folks, I said, so what does that tell you? What does that show you? I said, that shows you and tell you that we had engineering skills and mathematical skills even in captivity. So show you the genius of our people. Again, a part of our legacy, the shoulders that we stand on with regards, as you said, being thankful for that greatness, because we would not be here right now if it was not for our ancestors, if it was not for our people. And that's what we go forward with regards to that. And that's what we love that. And we appreciate that. And just like when you talk about the ship, the container ship coming in. And for those of you who are listening and checking us out right now, some of you may not be aware of it, but Savannah has the fourth busiest ocean container port in the entire country. Again, I'll repeat. Savannah has the fourth busiest ocean container port in the entire United States. Los Angeles and Long Beach are first and second. New York, New Jersey, third. Savannah is fourth. So Savannah's been a major port city in the U.S. since the 1700s. That ain't nothing new for us with regards to understanding the importance of us, not just here in the U.S., but around the entire world. And so that's why some of us got to embrace that and take that on. And that has to be a part of a motivation. And so that's why, Sister Mara, I'm going to ask you this question. What are your motivations for you to do what you do right now? The motivations for your mission, the motivation with regards to any enterprise or anything that you're doing?
I think it goes back to lifestyle. A lot of people know me as, promoting Black businesses. Well, I don't promote Black businesses. As a lifestyle, I shop with Black business owners. I seek out Black business owners. That's a lifestyle. So I don't really think it's a mission. Again, unfortunately, I don't have a mission. It's just a lifestyle that I choose to live with, shopping with Black businesses, with wanting to help other people with, you know what I mean? Obviously, I think it's something that was instilled in me from my mother. I saw her do the things that I'm doing. So, for example, I saw my mother shop at Black Business. You know what I mean? That was what she did. She was a Black business owner. My mother had well, I won't say an organization. I think it was just something that they did. I helped senior citizens with supplemental groceries through my nonprofit organization. Well, so did she and her girlfriends. You know, that was something that they did. We volunteered at the senior home where my Aunt Hazel lived at in Chicago. You know what I mean? And did activities and things like that with the seniors. We did the 4-H group, you know, the 4-H club. So, you know, we do things now with the kids. So again, it's just a lifestyle. I'm only doing the same things that I did growing up. I'm not doing anything different than I did growing up. So if we have to attribute it to anything, let's attribute it to my mother. How about that?
That's what it's about, foundation. That's why, again, we say motivation, all of that. That's what it's tied to, again, that we see people, we see things that touch us and strike us. And that's why I threw it out there early to those of you who are just not chiming in. That, again, last week, May 19th, the birthday for one of my heroes, that is Malik Shabazz, that is Malcolm X. So, again, that's a part of the motivation. So when people see me walking around, see me speaking, see me doing things, that again is based on the sincerity that Malcolm had and the love that he had for the people. So then that way I understand that being an example for me to follow. And so, yes, that we do have those examples that are part of who we are. And I tell I should share this. Some of y'all know this and some of you all don't know this. In my classes, people have heard me go and discuss this. I say that you never achieve your greatness by yourself. Others help you to achieve greatness. And because others help you to achieve greatness, guess what? Then you have an obligation to do the same thing. You do this. You have the obligation to reach back or to go for or to push someone to go forward to succeed. We don't get into the jealousy and the envy. And so now going back to something else you shared, Sister Myra, that when you were down in that area in City Market, when I do my journeys, when I do my tours, I bring up and discuss with people about, I give them a lesson with regards to what happened on the continent. I said that I don't care about the Middle Passage. I ain't concerned about that. But I do pay homage to those, the greatest human beings of all time who did not survive the Middle Passage. I said, we got to go back down on the continent. And I tell folks, I say, if you go, this is what occurred. If they went into a village and took out a family of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dead, or be dying on the march from inner Africa to the coast where the factories are. Then 3 will make it to the factories. Then 1 or 2 are going to die in the Middle Passage. So what I throw out to folks is that if you see a person of African descent in the Americas, anywhere in the Americas, that means at least one of their ancestors survived. Only the best of the best survive, and too few Black folks understand they are descendants of the best of the best. Wow. I say when you understand that, you carry yourself differently, treat each other differently, and expect more from yourself and from your brothers and sisters. And that's why we don't have no attitude or any acrimony towards one another, because when I see you, I see me. That's and right. I know for a fact we got something that connects us that nobody else in this entire world can go and say that when I see you here in the Americas, I know that at least one of your ancestors survived like one of my ancestors. And guess what? I got to show mad love and respect to you. And so that's why I want to ask you, sister, what is Black Men Rock? What is that about?
Well, in a nutshell, Black Men Rock is our campaign to aggressively expose Black men in a positive manner, because mainstream media has aggressively tried to expose Black men in a negative manner. And I'm a mother with sons. And I just, I didn't want my son seeing, so many negative things and so much negativity. And the bottom line is that the men in my life, they really do rock. I couldn't relate. You know what I mean? I couldn't relate to absentee everybody. Like nobody's positive, not one. You know what I mean? I just couldn't relate to that. And I didn't want my sons to be able to relate to that. I didn't want to begin to relate to that, So I was publishing a magazine, and Black Men Rock started off as an article in that magazine every month. And then we would do social media posts, for Black Men Rock, in addition to the publication. And then that just kind of evolved into an annual dinner where we recognize 8 men for extraordinary things that they do, in the community and to help their community move forward, etc. Um, and that's what it is. It's just our mission to say no. That isn't what black men are. This is what black men are. Just like you were saying, in everything we have to take it back, really, and rewrite what it is that we want our legacy and our history to be. And Black Men Rock is me doing that. It's us doing that. Everybody that participates, everybody that comes out to the events, everybody that shows up for anything that says Black Men Rock, they are saying, you know what? Yeah, we do rock. You know what? Yeah, I do rock. He does rock, and it just makes you rethink, because that's what we have to do. We have to unlearn things so that we can relearn. You know what I mean? So we have to unlearn that negativity, and you only unlearn it by continuing to see different. So you can't say, don't think this, or don't say this, or don't do this, without replacing it with something else. And so Black Men Rock is that replacement.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. And you shared something that, again, that I think is absolutely on point. That for some of us, our reality, and people talk often about their reality that people spit out, they write about, they talk about their realities. And I tell folks, sometimes those realities have been created by other people. These are mythologies that you have now embraced, that now become self-fulfilling prophecies or self-fulfilling realities. When in fact, that is not it. And just like in my own family, you shared that there are certain images that was not a part of my reality. But if I allow other people who are not me to not engender that, then that becomes self-fulfilling. And I see that with many of us that occurs, that again, we allow ourselves to be taken off the pathway in this race called life, that in this journey called life. And that again, I tell folks, I say that, guess what? This is a competition. And some folks want you out the competition. And so then they put those stuff out to you and have you spitting out about this is your reality. Well, no, that is not your reality. That is not how you've been functioning. That is not how you've been trained. That is not what's engendered in you. That is not what the Most High or nature has put in you, depending on how people look at it. If you don't believe in the Most High, then you deal with nature. So that is not what nature wants you to be. If you believe in the Most High, that is not how the Most High created you. And so absolutely, it becomes something that is tragic for us when we now take on these narratives that are false narratives, and they begin to destroy who we are, to take us out of the race. And so with regards to that, and we talk about black men rock, that we uplift black men, and you say you change the narrative, that you now go and give us the proper foundation about who we are and the elevation of who we are. But then also, why is it that when it comes to black women, why do we applaud the empowerment of black women, but also we loathe it that we also hate the fact that black women are empowered? Do you have any thoughts about that?
Who hates the fact that black women are empowered? I don't. Who hates the fact that we're empowered? We don't. Black women don't hate the fact that we're empowered. I love the fact that we're empowered. Women I know love the fact that we're empowered. Women I'm meeting love the fact that we're empowered. I don't know how to answer that, unfortunately.
Okay, and that's cool. That's why I throw it out there. And I throw that out there to say this, that because what happened, what we have seen, that again, we talk about it, and just like we see these phrases, we hear people say black girl magic, and we hear about the empowerment of black women. We said it and we put that out there. But then the same token, what we have witnessed, that when we see black women truly now taking charge, that we begin to see people now throwing things out there about them, that the angry black woman, that they begin to throw out information just trying to bring them down, that why can't these black women act right? Why must they catfight and all of this? And that saying that black women cannot lead us. And I say to people, that is a danger for any of us to follow that, because what we now do, again, that's why going back to something that we go to these false narratives, these lies that they tell us. Instead, on the one hand, we go and applaud we celebrate black women being empowered. But when black women now really begin to act and put it out there, we live in a society, in a world, and just like you say, it's not us, those who love us, those of us who love us, we don't have no issue with that. But those who don't love us, and some of them look like us and some of them don't look like us, we then begin to bash and try to destroy or bring down our sisters. And I have to throw it out there that we've seen that in particular on political fronts, especially elected officials, and we see people who are now in positions to not impact us. We then at times fight against them. And I tell folks that is self-destructive, that is genocidal behavior. And so I just wanted to get, because people know Jamal has a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions and a lot of insight on things. And that's why I just want people to run tell that family to hear from other people about some perspectives. But I want to just throw that out there saying, so again, I want some of us out there right now who are listening and looking at this show, that when you go and tout and say that Black women, Black girl magic, you talk about Black girls rock, you talk about all of that, you talk about how you uplift Black women, do not do it on a faddish front. Do not do it based on a pop culture trend. Do not base it on a hashtag. Base it on reality. And so when it becomes reality, guess what? When I talk about that philosophy of life, that parameters that you have, then you understand that you never go out trying to bash Black women. You instead, you seek to protect Black women, uplift Black women, and elevate them to where they need to be. Because guess what? As I tell folks, part of our spiritual foundation, it is said that you know the condition of a society based on the condition of the women. And see, that's why when I not discuss it with many people, they're going to talk about places outside the United States. I say, who are the poorest people in this country? It is women and children. Who are the ones that are basically under siege with regards to poverty? Women and children. When we talk about homelessness, that again, we see women and children. So I said that this society has to elevate. And so now when we see Black women in particular who not take charge with regards to that, oh, guess what? Now some people get mad when they not want to do the reality. So, yes.
Well, when you speak about it like that and you talk of politics and you talk of those types of things, that's a given. That's done. They do that to each other. So, you know, they're going to do it definitely to Black women in that respect. When you talk about it that way, I thought you meant like within our community and things like that, because I thought that we all were uplifting each other and wanted each other to be uplifted. But if you're talking about outside of the community, people that, you know, tout Black girl magic, or even that people that may be inside the community that tout Black girl magic, but then, you know, do something different. Unfortunately, that's been like that since the beginning of time. I don't think that, you know, I think that the best thing that we can do is work with those that want to be worked with, because I'm not one that believes everybody will unify. You know what I mean? I believe that there's going to always be somebody who just might not be, you know, with the collective. And so, unfortunately, I can't live for, what if they're, you know what I mean? What if they really don't want Black women empowerment? You know what I mean? I don't live for that. I live for those that do, while at the same time working to protect and defend what it is that we're building. And so I think that we just need to group up with those that collectively think that way, because there's always going to be somebody looking to put you down, you know, Black men or Black women, or, you know what I mean? I think long as we're not doing it to each other, though, you know, that's the thing. And I know that unfortunately we do it to each other, but I don't know. I don't get caught up in that, unfortunately. And that's not unfortunate, but I just don't get caught up in that. Did I answer the question?
And that's fine, yes, ma'am. Because again, what we try to do, we try to put out the thoughts that are relevant, that are necessary for us, because some of us will never think about it. We ignore it, but then also what begins to happen, we then get hit with it. And so some of us, when we get hit with it, it becomes shattering to us. And so that's what our job is just like with Garvey. We are going to awaken the sleeping giants. We're going to let the people now understand. Now, and I'm going to share this with you, because you're not making a foray into Savannah. Savannah is an absolute example of where we go, and we made strides in Savannah, Georgia, with regards to the election of Black women on our political scene. But what has happened recently, what has happened for the past year and a half, pretty much, that we've seen where people have gone about knocking Black leadership, especially from Black women. And I'm saying that what we fail to understand, as opposed to listening to what they are saying, understanding what they're saying, we are going based on behaviors, based on sentiments and feelings tied to friendships, tied to relationships, tied to family kinships, as opposed to looking at the facts. And in fact, not that I'll throw it out there. I've said to folks that We have elected officials, in particular, I'm just throwing out there some women who are elected officials who are from here, and they have seen things that have impacted them as children, as adolescents, as teenagers, as young adults, as parents, and some of them now are grandparents, and the same issues are here. And so when they now speak out about this and about some of those concerns, people then come at them. And so that's why I'm throwing it out there to the listening audience to let them now understand we must function differently right now. You cannot be talking about the empowerment and talk about how great it is how we made history. Then you forget about it. And that's why I say it becomes that faddish type activism. It becomes that pop culture activism. We do what's trendy. What is a hashtag? And so I'll throw this out to you, a question to you, Sister Myra. How should Black businesses collaborate? Just your perspective. How should Black business collaborate and function?
Okay, well, I will answer that. How should Black businesses collaborate and function? But first, I want to go back to people who may speak about Black women. And then, one thing that I do want to say is that whatever anybody outside of our community says about us has no bearing. It should be what people inside of our community are saying. That should be what's cared about, and that should be what's looked at and what's taken care of, so to speak, because no one outside of our community can tear down the Black women in leadership in our community. And I hate to hear that that's that's being happened, because I only know a couple of the Black women in leadership right now in Savannah, and to me, they both are. Do you see what I'm saying? They both are absolutely for the people. They both are absolutely about what they say, etc. So it's like, if you're trying to tear that down, you never wanted it to begin with. You thought it would never happen. And now that it's happened, it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, my thing is, we can't worry about that. We have to rally around those women, whatever that looks like. We have to rally around them if need be, financially, if need be with protection, if need be with whatever, because everybody likes to talk about Malcolm X. Everybody likes to talk about Minister Martin Luther King. And there's nothing wrong with these men. These men are great. These men are Black men. They're rocked. However, these men were only able to do what they did because the community rallied around them. Martin Luther King wouldn't have been able to go out and do anything. Dr. Martin Luther King wouldn't have been able to go out and do anything that he was doing if he did not have a community that was going to get him out of jail when he went to jail, take care of his family, the times that he was traveling, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with Minister Malcolm X. So it's like, that's what we need to resolve first. And those that are found to be treasonous, then we need to deal with them accordingly, whatever that looks like. Period. Now, on to how Black businesses, and that'll solve the problem. If we solve the problem internally, the external problem will solve itself. If we solve the problem internally, the external problem will solve itself. How can Black businesses collaborate? By collaborating. That's all we got to do is collaborate. How do we collaborate? Okay, great. Find somebody that's doing what you're doing and work together. Somebody that's doing what I'm doing and work together. Yes. Somebody that's doing what you're doing, and see how you can collaborate and work together to make both of your businesses stronger in infrastructure and brand name, because no one is an island. And I'll tell the joke, I might not be an island, but I'm a peninsula. But even that peninsula is connected, you know what I mean? But we just work together. Find somebody who's doing what you're doing, same thing that you're doing, because then that way, while you're two helping each other, you know what I mean? You're not doing anything way off base. You're not, you're not in the food industry, and now you're going to go help a barber. You know what I mean? That's not how it is. If you bake, find a chef, and now you do the desserts for the chef at all the events. Something to that effect. But we collaborate and we work together. We don't lose, our names. There's a KFC and there's a Taco Bell, but together There's the KFC and the Taco Bell. Y'all been to the drive-thrus or seen them? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, somebody said the major factor for that is trust. You don't need trust when you have paperwork. Who needs trust? You don't need trust. You need paperwork. That's all you need. You don't need trust. You need paperwork. You need to have your own business. First of all, before you can even collaborate, you have to be individually sustainable. If you're not individually sustainable, then let's not even talk collaboration. But for those businesses that are individually sustaining themselves and that can collaborate, it's as simple as getting a lawyer to draw up, or you drawing up and having a lawyer look over whatever agreement that you come up with. That's it. It's really not that hard. All this trust and all this kind of doesn't matter. Get you some paperwork. You don't need trust.
Okay. Now we're going to explore a little bit more. This, you have an African American who wants to go into business. What would be the advice or suggestion that you would give to them? In addition, you said with regards to the paperwork, what are some other things with regards to them in working, becoming successful? What would you suggest to some of them? Because we have some folks who have the desire, who want to do it, but sometimes what comes into play is that it's a negative voice that's in the back of their mind saying that they can't do it, they can't make it. And so what's the advice that you would tell them or give to them, that person sitting out there who can do something, and got a skill set, got a product, got a service, got an ability, but it's that negative thought that's right there in the back of their mind saying it can't be done? Because sometimes it may be that negative thought internally, but also externally when it's coming from the environment that they're in.
Understood. Now, if someone is just thinking, oh, I can't do a business, I can't start a business, I can't do this, I won't be successful. No, that's, if that's what you think, then that's the truth. That's what'll happen, because we are what we think. We know that we create what our life is by what we think. So definitely, first of all, get the positive mindset that you can do whatever it is that you want to do, especially if you have the skill set for it. So that's number one. But then the other thing that I would tell somebody going into business now is get real with yourself and go through all the processes, because so often we think, I got an idea, I know how to do it, or mostly do it. I think I know who I'm gonna sell it to. I'm gonna get me some business cards. I'm gonna get me a domain name. That's all I need. I'm gonna get me an LLC because God laid it on my heart, and that's that. And that is not that.
Okay.
So I would tell people, if you're going into a business, go through all the steps. Find somebody's how to start a business, even if it's Google, and go through all the steps. How to start insert your business. How to be a DJ. Okay. If it says step 1 through 20, do step 1 through 20, because step 1 through 20 is typically going to be all of your infrastructure. And that's where so often new businesses fail, because they don't do the infrastructure. You know what I mean? They're excited. They go out here, they get the business cards, they get the domain name, they might even get a website, and they think that's all the business, and it's not. It's not. You need so much more. You need systems in place. You need automation in place. You need a plan in place. You need projections of what you're going to spend in place. Do you have an advertising budget so that people can know about you? Because your business card and your Facebook page is not enough. You know what I mean? So there's whatever it is that you're looking to do. When you either Google it, take a class, find a coach, whatever it is that you've done, whatever the steps are to getting from A to Z that they tell you to do your said business, follow each and every step. And if you do, I'm sure that you'll be okay.
Okay, great. Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. And that's a part of the process. Now, there's another element, and I threw this out there again to all the Run Tell That listening audience and viewers. Share with you that what occurred, that there were a group of people at a seminar, and they were at a seminar, and again, this is entrepreneurs, African-American entrepreneurs. And one of them got up, and he's an industrialist, and he got up and he said that we often talk about that we need capital. He said, we know we need opportunity. And he said that, and when he then told them, he said, the opportunity I'm talking about, he said that there are contracts that are governmental contracts that are being doled out to people, being given out to people, that people are getting it. But then when you look at us across the entire country, many of us are not getting those contracts. He said, we need to have those contracts that, again, become regimented for other businesses. And so when they said that, and I'm like, he understands. Because what we often look at, we're looking at just the capital, but those same contracts that when we're not in the loop, we're in the system now, we're able to make some things happen. And so I just want to ask if you have a perspective as to what would be the advice that you would give to, say, politicians and to governmental employees with regards to how they should function with African-American businesses and with regards to equitable opportunities. If you have a perspective with regards to that.
Well, I know that one thing that can be done is making opportunities aware. I don't think people know that a lot of things exist. And you don't have to run all over the city. You just work your area, work whatever you're responsible for, and make sure that any opportunity that exists for business owners, what have you, you make that aware. And I think that in and of itself will make people get their stuff together, because COVID in and of itself made people get their stuff together. Just becoming aware. People got, I can qualify for the PPP if I'm a business owner, and I got to do this, and just get your paperwork and your forms, and that infrastructure that we talked about, that process that we talked about, because a lot of people got looked over because they weren't ready, and whatever. But that's what I would say, is just being made aware. So many people don't know about different things. And at the same time, as a business owner, we need to be plugged in too, because a lot of the times that we don't know is because we aren't plugged in, and we aren't plugged in because we haven't went through the processes. So, it's kind of, we all have to work together. Everybody has to do their part. Our part is to follow the process, do everything that we need to do. And then on the other part, their part is to, don't cherry pick, don't that type of thing, but just make opportunities aware.
Yes, ma'am. And if y'all listen to Sister Maya Foster, she put it out there. And that's one of the things that we have information that is needed to be put out there from governmental entities, letting them know that there's bidding going on for certain contracts. Some of it's just janitorial contracts, something as simple as that, or a contract just to cut the lawn at municipal facilities, at governmental facilities. That's something as simple as that, because some of us are doing landscaping, some of us are doing simple things like that, but we are not privy to the information. We don't know where to get the information per se, which it is out there for us. We don't get it. But then also, for some of us also, when you now have, say, the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber of Commerce, or you have other institutions that are now saying, listen, we're going to have a training with regards to a seminar with regards to working on your business to now get these contracts, and giving you the training information, so that way you can go in there and put in your bid, and bam, you got it. So sometimes we do ignore that when it's coming from us, when we are not giving it to you. So again, it's twofold. One, we need to have the information put out there so that the public knows, indeed. But then some of us, we now have us now providing information, because they're saying, listen, we are a nonprofit. We cannot put a bid in for the contract, but you as a for-profit business, you can go and do that. So we're not going to give you the information so that you can have an effective bid package. So yeah, and Sister Myra put it out there. So we need y'all to listen and understand. You got to run with that. We got to go forward with that. We got to put that out there. So
we as businesses too, now we need to make sure that we are plugged into everything that we need to be plugged into as well. That's the bottom line. Make sure that our business is listed everywhere it needs to be listed, registered. If we need to become a vendor, just whatever these things are, which goes back to following the process. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we don't want to put all of the blame anywhere, because the bottom line is the system is broken. So as long as we're doing our part, then we can put our foot on somebody's neck. If we haven't done our part, you can't put your foot on nobody's neck. You know what I mean? So it goes
Absolutely.
back to going through the process.
That's right. Absolutely. I would say it's twofold. You threw out it's twofold, so we need to go ahead and embrace it. Now, there's a question that I have, and the question that I have is, are Black businesses educational and human rights tools? Are Black businesses that we have, businesses in our communities, are they educational tools in your perspective, and human rights tools in your perspective?
Um, I'm definitely going to say yes for the educational tools. They're definitely educational tools. There is great images for our children to see. Yes, it's great educational tools because you may have children that want to be, that pharmacist or that lawyer or that whatever. And now they not only see this person in their community or in their near community, but they may, excuse me, I'm sorry, they may be able to go in and, meet that person, an intern or, work for a day, whatever the case may be. So I definitely think that even in terms of educational tools for how things have happened before us, and how to plan for different things. You know what I mean? Black Wall Street, for example, was an educational tool. You know what I mean? So now we know the things that went wrong there, although a lot, that was beyond what we could control. But now in rebuilding, we know that one great aspect would be defense moving forward. So yes, we can say that that's a educational tool. On the human rights, I don't know enough to answer that intelligently. So I'm going to opt out of that question because I don't know enough on that topic to give anything concrete,
And it's all good because yes, ma'am. And I throw it out there that, and you're absolutely correct. I tell folks that, and we've said this for decades to people, that when we have, especially African Americans, and with other people too, but when we have businesses that is not just say a business, but it's also an education, because now for some of our people, especially when we begin employing some of us, that becomes a part of how some of us begin to learn as to how providing, if it's customer service, providing quality service just in general, that becomes
Exactly.
becomes a part of our foundation, becomes a
That's
part of
true.
who we are. It's a part of our character right now. That is becomes a part of that training for how we function. And then you said the role models, and I throw this out to people. I say sometimes we don't like to talk about it, but just to talk about during the time of segregation. After doing segregation, we had Black businesses in the Black community. And in fact, pretty much all urban areas had a Black Wall Street area. So what happened for those urban areas that you had sometimes, and so even with regards to the housing, that we know we in many cities, doesn't matter if you're in the north, you're in the south, or you're in the west or the Midwest, we have segregated communities. But what occurred in some of those communities, I share folks, sometimes you had wealthy people in the neighborhood, you had well-to-do people in the neighborhood, middle-income people in the neighborhood, people who may not have been doing well, people may be impoverished. But guess what? The children in the neighborhood saw all of them. They
Right.
had those role models. They saw that millionaire. They saw that gas station owner. They saw
Right.
that hotel owner. They saw that teacher. They saw that person who was a longshoreman, a longshorewoman. They saw that person who was a janitor. They had all those role models right there. And that said to them that they could achieve. And then now when they work in that business that's owned by some of them, guess what? It becomes, again, something that catapults them. It becomes a part of their education. Now, and I throw it out there. Some people don't, and I throw this, let's be clear about this. When we talk about human rights, sometimes people think human rights is just with regard to say what they call social justice. No, human rights is totality. Human rights involve political rights,
What you
economic
said.
rights also. That's what it all involves. And so some of us, when we hear this, and not saying you, Sister Ma, but some people sitting out there, you hear
I
human
heard
rights,
human trafficking.
you think it's just about voting. You think it's just, I'm like saying, no, we tell folks it is about our economics also. It is about wealth building. It is about all of that. Human rights means that you have equity right now to be able to achieve and to have wealth and then also pass it on to generations. But what we tend to encapsulate and put it just like political rights. And I tell folks, guess what? Check this out. I say when people talk about 40 acres and a mule, not even understand it comes out of Savannah, Georgia. And that what these Black folks understood here, they were like, check this out. This war, you call the Civil War, ain't about us just having freedom. It's about us having freedom, but also having economics. That's what Garrison Frazier said, the person who gave everybody the concept of 40 acres and a mule coming, that gave it to Sherman. that again, he was like, we're gonna have a surplus and take care of ourselves. Now I tell people that surplus he talking about is about economics, because we gotta have our land, have our autonomy, and guess what? We can achieve. We go for it. And I tell folks that's our human rights, and that's a part of it. Because some of the people sitting out there, that's why I know, because again, like I talk about folks, y'all know I talk about this about faddish activism, pop culture activism. I detest that. I despise that. We ain't got time for that. We need reality. So I want y'all to understand when we talk about Black business, we talk about human rights also. So it's not just about, again, you think it's just capitalism, anything like that. No, it's about us being able to achieve, like Garrison Frazier has said, we can take care of ourselves.
I
But
thought you said human trafficking, Jamal.
human trafficking.
I said, hold on. Because I didn't know. I'm like, where did he get human trafficking from? And then I'm like, girl, what's wrong with you? He said human rights. You know, I'm like, oh, girl. That's why I started laughing. Like, wait a minute, I don't know nothing about human trafficking. Take it, opt out on this one.
It's all good, sis. It's all
it
good.
Is good to laugh. Do you hear
yes,
me?
Sir, absolutely. And that's what life is about.
Clarity on
that. Yes, ma'am. So we
that is true.
Now, you had shared this, you had said this earlier, but I want to go back to it. And again, for those who just joining in with us, that I want you to talk about this. Who was the person or persons that influenced you to be successful? And how do you not pass that on? You threw it out there earlier. I'm like, okay, she put it out there early. So I'm like, this is all good. So again, who influenced you to be successful and how do you pass that on?
My mom influenced me to be successful. Definitely. Roberta Costello. She influenced me to be successful. She influenced me to be financially independent, no matter what my marital status was. She influenced me to be, just free in who I am. You know what I mean? But she did all of this unknowingly. At least I don't think she was trying to, because I look back, hindsight is 20/20, like they say. And I'm like, I had a great mother. You know what I mean? Because just her lifestyle, again, that word, her lifestyle taught me everything that I needed to know, but she is who motivated me. She's who motivates me now that I think about it. You know what I mean? Just want to do right, just want to do right, want to treat people right, want to live and be peaceful, do what I want to do and come and go as I want. That's how she was. You know what I mean? She wanted to she owned her time, and she just helped people when she could, supported everybody. And I find myself being a lot like her. You made me think about that. Thank you. You got me in the woo seat now.
That's what it's about. Yes, ma'am. We give it to the Most High. That's what it's about. That was making them connected.
Even my mother, she was good. Her and Papa Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
I was adopted, so I had Granny and Papa Joe, But yeah, good people, real good people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And they stay with us. They resonate with us. They ooze out of us. They come out, and then we're able to touch other people from the goodness that they gave us. So yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's the power of it all. Yes,
that's right. A lot of people tell me that I'm the youngest old lady that they know because they say I act and talk and think a lot older than, I am and look. And it's like, I take that as a great compliment because it means only that everything that my mother was, I am, so I'm grateful for that.
Okay. I'll text you.
That was my daughter talking to me. She see I'm doing the show, but she just feel like she can run me.
I would never do this.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. She gonna run me all the time, But yeah, but and again, and that's the powerful thing that I tell folks. I said that these people that have poured into us, we didn't pour into other people, and guess what? They still live via us pouring into other people when they not go forward and do other great things. And that's why, again, I tell people that's that valuable tool about who we are as a people. That's the wonderful thing about that. And paying homage. And you didn't share something with you. I had this happen with me years ago. This was right after Fred Clark was killed in Baltimore with regard to the incident in Baltimore. And then they had the uprisings in Baltimore. And I had this sister with me on one of my journeys. And the sister said to me when I was sharing some things with her, the sister said, Jamal, I'm listening to you. You were reminding me of some of the stuff that my grandmother told me.
Wow.
Then she said, now I'm realizing, because she said, I grew up with my grandmother. She said, but now I'm realizing that when my grandmother passed away, we lost a lot of stuff. And I said, yeah, I said, that happens for a lot of us. I said, but guess what? The things that you do have from her, you not pass that on to others. That's why it can still resonate. But that's why I say to the Run Tell That family, all you are out there right now, you need to embrace the elders who are around you, the ones who raised you, the ones who guided you in your neighborhoods, or even if they're not your blood family, but through the family, through the journey of life, you need to embrace them and even go back to some of them and get some of those teachings that they gave you now to be able to pass it on to another generation. Because
Pass it on
sometimes,
to your children.
and right, because sometimes what happens, we get so disconnected from that. So then we are detached from who we are, and that we need to go back and cleave to that, and we need to build upon that. So
Bridge the
my
gap.
sister, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, bridge the gap. That's what we need to
Yeah.
do, is bridge the gap between that senior generation, us, and then even the generation after us, you know.
Yes,
And that's
ma'am.
what we
Yes,
do. We
ma'am.
bridge that
Yes,
gap.
indeed. Yes,
Yep, and that's how
indeed.
the circle stays.
That's right. That's absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna close out with this. We're gonna close out
Oh,
with
so we
this.
go. That
Because now
time
I'm gonna
went
tell you.
quick.
Well, I gotta say this, because I'm going to go ahead and going to give you the opportunity to do some things, because yeah, you asked me, say it's time to go, yo, because you're soon to be produced by the name of Julius Hall.
Uh-huh.
See, he won't do this with you and the others, but with Run Tell That, he had me on a strict diet of regarding time, because he has this show called The Rabble that comes up at 7 o'clock. So with my people, we got to get on all day. Everybody else see that with you, you're gonna have a show. I want you to talk about your show coming up, but also talk about how can we uplift the community. So yeah, with my show, I'm on strict regimen. I am under strict quarters and quotas with him. So, but because of you, Sister Myra, you're gonna have carte blanche like everybody else, but Lil Jamal don't have that same ability. So, so we're gonna be closing out. But you talking about your show, but also what can we do to uplift the community? Oh, your suggestions as to how we can do what we can do to uplift our community.
What can we do to uplift our community? We can treat the people that are inside of our homes with the respect that we would treat President Obama, and Oprah, whoever you highly regard. If we would treat the people inside of our homes, if husbands treat their wives, wives treat their husbands, parents treat the kids, kids treat their brothers and sisters, and grandma and the dog and the cat, the bird, and everybody, treat everybody good inside the home, and we just start there, it would spill over. Because I don't care what you do out in the street. You know what I mean? I don't care how much food you give away, how many backpacks. I don't care how many heads you cut for these little boys. I don't care how many seniors you serve. I don't care, homeless women. I don't care what you do. If you go home and your home life, is not at peace, and you're upside down in your bills because you're not prioritizing and this and that, everything starts at home. So the way we can uplift our community is to make a decision that we're going to do this thing, and we start right there in our home. And once we start in our home, it's going to spill over. We'll divinely run into people that we need to meet, and it'll go from there. And if for some reason you meet somebody that's not on your wavelength, you spend no time convincing, no time, any that, you on to the next. And that's how it is. But if it's not in the home, it's for naught. Because why save everybody out in the street and your children ain't saved and your daughter ain't saved? And I don't mean church for those who like, you know what I mean? But I just mean, you helping other people with their light bill, and your bill is going under. You helping people get a house, and you renting an apartment. You helping people in their marriage, and your wife and can't stand you. And you know what I'm saying? So if we get our homes right, that's all we got to do. And then everything else is going to fix itself. Well, let me take that back. She said that if we get our homes right, that's the first step. Put it that way. That's the first step.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And you have a show coming up on ATR, maybe starting in June.
Yeah, I have a show coming up. We still doing some tweaks and still doing some fixing and things like that. So I won't spill the beans too much, but I will be on ATR this June.
All right, great. That's what we do. We believe in, again, that, see, when we talk about collaboration, that's what Jamal does. We collaborate, we put it out there. We want folks to know. So y'all need to check out her show. And guess what? I said this, that it's not just producer Julius Hall that be getting on me, but it's also Crystal, the one who went to Beach High School, Brett Campbell. I know you love Beach High School, Brett, but guess what? It ain't all that. It's HBJ, Warriors, Happy Hunting Grounds, 1800 Eastern Avenue. Just let y'all know that. But then, so yeah. But they have Jamal on a tight leash, so that way my show can't go over because they get mad. But Bernard Brown coming up in June, Sister Mara Foster coming up in June. So y'all check out their shows coming up, and guess what? They're gonna be able to do what they want to do. But little Jamal can't do that because guess what? It's called The Rapper coming on at 7 o'clock. Again, Sister Mara Foster, glad to have you on with us. Glad to see you do the work here in Savannah, in Charlotte, around the country. We're glad to see the work that you're doing. Glad that you're going to be right here with us. And we say, continue doing what you're doing. Proud of you. And we give you kudos. And
you too. I'm ready to go on a tour. I'm excited about that. So I'm going to get with you on that because I'm ready to go on a tour.
And everybody tell you, it ain't your mama daddy's toy either.
It's all right.
So yes, and to the Run Tell That family, we say share, share, share. Glad to have y'all. Next week, we're going to have a special show. This show is going to be a tape show because I'm going to be with Coach Sam Carter. And it's going to be about your physical fitness and how we can deal with some of these illnesses based on physical fitness, and using me as an example, because some of y'all already know Coach Carter's done that anyway. He'd be trying to kill me, especially on Thursday. He's going to try to kill me on tomorrow. But again, we're going to do that. Run Tell That. Join us again. Again, glad to have you, Sister Mara, to Run Tell That family. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Smile.